Welcome to another episode of Is This for Kids? I'm Jonathan Bearded Blevins, husband and father of 4.
Yeah.
And I think that most media is poison for children.
I like how you always look at me like you need me to confirm how many children you have.
I never
They're
know.
not my kids.
I lose count.
It's a lot of kids. I am Katie, MrsRuvi. I am a mother of 5, but who's counting? And the purpose of this podcast is to kind of look at some content that's out there for parents, let them know what's in it that they may want to shield their kids from, that that's bad stuff they're never going to want their kids to see. What kind of stuff might be in a piece of content that would lead to a conversation they need to shepherd them through, and how they can use media to share in their kids' experience in life. And today, we're talking about
Mufasa! Mufasa, the movie made for millennials.
Really was. Absolutely was. 1,000,000%.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about Mufasa and do your whole summary thing?
What, the summary of Mufasa?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert before she does this. Before the movie started, if you're going to go see it, close your ears for 30 seconds. I said, I went into this movie knowing that there was going to be some stupid reason that Scar became evil, and I was correct. Please continue.
Okay, so while Simba is away with Nala giving birth to what appears to be their second cub, they leave their first cub, Kiara, home.
Great name.
John Starr's name's Kiara. With Timon and Pumbaa, and then later Rafiki shows up to tell a story. Kiara's afraid of the storm, and so Rafiki tells her the story of her grandfather Mufasa, who was also afraid of water, because as a cub, Mufasa was whisked away by a torrential downpour. He lost both of his parents, or he was taken by downriver away from his parents, where he was picked up by another cub, Taka, who is the prince sort of his pride, and his father is very, very skeptical of outsiders, or he calls him a stray. And because Taka's mother and Taka both intercede for Mufasa, he's allowed to stay with the pride, but only with the women. So Mufasa is raised among the women of this pride, while Taka is raised with his father. And then eventually the outsiders, these other lions, come in and decimate Taka's family. And so Taka and Mufasa are forced to leave and go look for Milele, this mythical land they've been told about, which means forever. In
Hakuna Matata.
There you go.
Right?
Hakuna Matata, yeah.
Same kind of thing.
Yeah, but they're looking for Milele, so they take off. They pick up some stragglers along the way, including Sarabi and Zazu. Favorite puppy of my life is named Zazu. They journey onward.
Yeah.
There you go.
What did you think?
I actually really liked it.
You did?
Yeah, I'm really glad that Disney has decided in this particular case, maybe that's not as like a corporate decision, but like at least in this case, to make some sort of original content instead of just doing the live action version of Lion King 1.5 or whatever it was.
Lion King 1.5 is the best Lion King movie of all time, and it is not particularly close, by the way.
You keep saying stuff like that.
I'm serious. If you don't know, Lion King 1.5, Timon and Pumbaa tell their version of what happens in Lion King 1, and it is so funny.
Timon and Pumbaa are in this movie as the comic relief. They just kind of come in. So it's like told sort of like Princess Bride, right? Where he's telling a story and you go in and out of the story. And so Timon and Pumbaa exist just to be comic relief and bring up stuff that millennial parents would think is funny. So like there's this part where they start singing Hakuna Matata and they're like, his dad had just died and he was immediately singing for 6 straight years. And it's great. And it's a lot of fun because it's a way of incorporating jokes for adults without them being adult humor.
Correct. They did a good job of that.
Yeah, very
and
good.
Pumbaa is played by
Seth, you.
Why'd you say you like that?
You look like Seth Rogen.
I'm 10 times handsomer than Seth Rogen. That's not an insult to Seth.
Seth Rogen himself thinks you look like Seth Rogen.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Seth Rogen once said that on Twitter.
Yeah, to your brother, which is funny.
Why'd you just bring that up?
Yes.
So now we have to tell the story.
Yeah,
I watch a Lions game with my brother, Tyler Ninja Blevins, the blue-haired Fortnite guy who looks like Ellen. And
he does look like Ellen.
He's way handsomer than Ellen, though, to be fair. And
oh my gosh,
he posted a selfie of us and was like, had a great time watching the Lions game or whatever it was. I don't even think it was the Lions. It was just Monday Night Football. And Seth Rogen replied to the tweet, "Thanks for dinner, bro."
That's funny.
Because he thinks we look alike. We do not.
Yeah.
I also don't sound like, what's that guy's name from Step Brothers?
John C. Reilly?
Yeah, everyone says I sound like John C. Reilly.
Can you sing Mr. Cellophane?
No, but I can do the whole like, I thought you were dead.
Okay.
Remember that part?
No.
Okay.
I hate it.
Anyway, Mufasa, great. I thought it was okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it was awesome. It felt like a reach. We didn't need a Mufasa origin story. It was for us. So here's a podcast. Is it for kids? I don't think it was made for kids.
It was absolutely made for kids. Don't
No
be
way.
ridiculous.
It's
Just
a little
because
bit
there's something
dark.
to appeal to adults doesn't mean it's not for kids.
What's that one movie I said was the same thing? It's just like If.
You were wrong then, too.
If was marketed to children, and it was clearly for struggling millennials who don't want to get a life and get a job.
What is wrong with you?
I'm just letting you know the truth.
First of all, Mufasa
And that's the same
never
thing with
got a job.
Mufasa. He's a king. What do you mean?
Oh my goodness. You're silly.
Okay. What do you want? Share, shepherd.
From the shield perspective, now you're saying it's not for kids. Is there something inappropriate in there that parents want to shield their kids from?
It's not bad language.
No swearing.
No sex stuff, which is good because they're lions.
Right, that could have gone
Would have been
so
weird.
many ways.
That would have been weird.
Right.
But it is dark. Yeah, it's dark for sure. You've got brothers kind of warring.
Only insofar as there's a conflict.
The wiping out of an entire family.
Oh, you don't see that.
You've got the loss of a parent pretty early on. It's like Land Before Time. Story's already been told, bud.
You just referenced a kids movie to say that this isn't a kids movie?
It's also a dark kids movie.
Oh my gosh.
We're going to do Land Before Time soon. Is this for kids?
There's no swearing, no drugs, no guns, no nudity. Or all nudity, depending on how you look at it. They're never putting pants on those
Zazu
lions.
is the only one who is fully clothed.
Who is, exactly. There is realistic lion-on-lion violence, but there's no blood. So, like, there's biting and fighting, but they don't bleed, and they're lions. So, it's no...
Even Scar doesn't bleed when he gets a scar.
Right. They scratch his face open, and it doesn't bleed. Yeah.
Which is actually, fun fact, that's what happens.
Really?
Yeah. My son had a cut, like, right here when he was 1 and had to get stitches, and it didn't bleed at all.
Oh, that happened to Jameer Gibbs yesterday, actually.
He had a Band-Aid.
Yeah. They had to, like...
Goff said he looked like Nelly. It was amazing. So not much to shield other than that it is a little bit dark and could be emotionally tough for like a really young kid.
Yeah. So like for shepherd conversations, is there anything that's tough or difficult that a kid might want, parents' involvement in that you can walk them through here?
Yeah. I mean, I remember when Mufasa died and when Littlefoot's mom died. Spoiler alert. Someone said they're going to make a remake, a live version of Land Before Time, and I got so excited, and it's not happening. But like my parents did not shepherd me through any of these losses that really did kind of impact me in a big way.
Uh-huh.
When I cried during Mighty Joe Young,
sure,
and like Born to Be Wild, all the monkey movies basically when I was growing up,
right?
And I think it's actually good to sit down and have that conversation with your kid about loss and parents aren't going to be here forever and you never know. And so, all, you know what I mean? All that kind of stuff. I think you can shepherd your kids through some of those conversations.
Yeah, I think it's important that it be a shepherd conversation and not a shield situation where you're not going to show your kid this movie because you don't want them to see anything painful or hard.
Yeah.
I think there's been this recent study that came out that people were, article, it was in Newsweek about how the Gen Zs are all getting fired at crazy rates because they absolutely can't deal with anything, like any type of constructive criticism, they fold and then they need a mental health day and that kind of thing. I think that's a lot of what we've talked about in the past about anti-fragility. Like you need to be exposed to things in order to learn to deal with it. And if you can't be exposed to even fictional pseudo trauma, and that's kind of a problem, right?
Yeah.
So, having these shows that are a little bit more meaty, that have a little bit more emotion, there can be more emotional depth to a child's movie without it being scarring,
Nice word choice there.
Uh-huh.
Good job. See what you did there.
I did such a good job. There was a little bit of a controversy that got brought up to me about Mufasa, and I don't think you heard about it because I ran it by you for a second earlier. So when I first told somebody that we were going to do Mufasa, the response that they gave me was, "Oh, you mean the movie about the African lions who have to beat up the white lions because the white ones are the bad guys?" And this person was very, Disney and the woke when they did it, when that was what he was trying to say. I just really feel like if that's a real criticism that's out there from anyone other than this one guy at my church, I don't think it's a valid one. Did you come away with like, this is a race war?
No.
At all?
I did not, but I did think that like an entire pride of white lions was weird. Like I really did have the thought where like, why wouldn't you just make them look different?
Because it's visually, it's not like a football team where you can have them wear different colored uniforms.
Yeah, but look at the
difference
between Mufasa and Scar and the regular Lion King. That's how you can do it.
But those are animated. These are actual lions. So they had to find a real life differentiation between a lion that could be obvious just looking at them from far away or from the aerial view.
Yeah.
So
I did not think it. I think it's a crazy thing to say.
It's insane.
But I do also think that it may have been a better movie if they would have just made the bad lions look more rough and like have more patches on their, like they look like they've been scrapping way more than the other ones. I think
it would have been harder to tell. Like once they're all like fighting and it's just a bunch of fur balls running around together, you wouldn't know which one's which.
That's fine. Yeah, I think that's kind of a crazy criticism.
Yeah, it was the most insane
If you want to talk about why the movie is woke, it's the women are awesome and the men are awful.
Oh, go ahead with that.
I'm just kidding.
No, say
no,
things.
no, because there's great male characters in the movie.
Yeah.
So I'm joking.
But there is like a little bit of a criticism to be had that like Mufasa became great because he was raised among women, and then this garbage father doesn't teach him anything about being a king, but expects him to be kingly.
Yeah. 100%. Well, the movie is a tale of two dads. You have Mufasa's dad, who's an awesome dad. He, like, spoiler alert, so close your ears if you're not hearing this, but he risks his life, and ultimately you kind of are led to believe that he dies so that he can save his son, Mufasa, in the beginning of the movie. And you can see in the first few minutes of the film when Mufasa's with his parents how amazing his dad is.
Yeah.
He affirms him, he loves him, he calls him the fastest cub, you know, in the West, all this kind of stuff. And Mufasa, you could actually argue, I think, that it's because of his dad and the guidance of Scar's mom, Taka's mom, that, spoiler again, that's why he becomes this amazing lion who ends up being, you know, the best king
ever.
of Malele.
This
and then
utopia.
You have Scar's dad, who is, funnily enough, like a real lion. I mean, like male lions do nothing, right?
They do suck.
They fight when they have to fight, and it makes total sense that he would, like, all male lions hate outside cubs. Some male lions kill their own cubs, and so it was funny because he was a bad father, but also just kind of like a normal lion. But he talks about like how, you know, he tells Taka, you should steal, you should deceive. He tells him all these awful things, and then Taka's like, I want to be brave like Mufasa, and he's like, no, like we're meant to just lay around.
That's so much to be said, though, about like the value of a good father and how different those people can become. Because
100%.
Like you said, Scar's going to turn for some very, very stupid reason. And it's because he has no internal compass of his own. Like he has no internal value that comes from something bigger and greater, like having a loving father who loves him no matter what.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I am reminded, though, of the movie that we watched, the new Transformers movie that we did a couple of months back, where Megatron is this awesome, hilarious character who just immediately becomes super evil.
For no good reason.
For no super good reason at all. And I do feel like they did not do a great job in this movie with Taka, because he was a great kid, a great cub, a good friend and brother to Mufasa forever. He regretted not being brave. He regretted not being courageous. And then instead of learning from Mufasa and like just becoming awesome, you're meant to feel bad for this character. I do hate that. I hate that movies make you feel bad for the villain. Yeah. Like Joker.
We've had this conversation where I'm not a big fan of a sympathetic villain.
Yeah. And that's exactly what happens here.
He was a minor villain, though. There was an overarching villain that, I mean, you know he's going to be a villain in the future, but like for this movie, he wasn't the villain. Yeah, but if you watch this movie first and then you watch Lion King for the first time ever, you're like, really? You killed Mufasa for that? Yeah. It makes no sense. Yeah. So I don't like, that's like part of the movie that I did not like, and I do think that we need better representation of fathers in movies, which Mufasa is a great dad, and his dad was great. Well, that is kind of the share conversation to have here. Like, this is a good movie that has a deeper meaning. It gives your kid a little bit more emotional depth, a little bit more something to work with. There's some meat to it without it being a stupid candy floss movie like we're going to talk about later in the week.
Wow. You can tell she's so excited. Was there a new Trolls movie I didn't know about?
I will die before I watch another Trolls movie.
You said that about Sonic.
I said that about Dogman, actually. Please kill me. All right. So what age do you think this is appropriate for?
Appropriate, 8, 9. Interest level, like, I don't know, 12.
Okay.
If you're not obsessed with Lion King, I don't see why you would love this movie.
All right. I would say that it's appropriate for all age levels. Any age level can watch this movie.
Shocker.
Sorry, there's just nothing in there that's bad.
I mean, it's a little dark, and you know, like a 5-year-old could sit through that and be like,
I think all kids can deal with dark a little bit. It'll be okay.
A little bit. Watch the original then.
You said that wasn't for kids under 8. Anyway, yada, yada. I think it's appropriate for all ages, but the interest level, because it's not a cartoon, it might raise to about 8, because non-cartoons are a little bit of a hard sell. But really, the CGI was so good. I really was like, it was awesome. CGI was awesome. Lions are great actors.
Again, I just watched the movie thinking, this is cool. This movie was made for me, not for my kids.
Oh, it was definitely for kids.
I'm not saying it isn't for kids. I'm saying it was made for adults. They went into this movie knowing that we were the ones taking our kids to see this because we like Lion King.
Sure.
It was just as much a money grab as Moana 2.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely just
not.
What can we keep making that parents will drag their kids to the theater?
Workers. Like, what's wrong with you?
I'm just saying.
Okay.
That's
if
what they do.
people
It's
like
smart.
this content, where could they find more?
Go to isthisforkids.com. You can find everywhere that we are there. We're very active on YouTube and Instagram, so check us out and let us know what you would like us to review in the future.
Hey, there is so much content for us to review out there as parents.
I'm Jonathan Beard Blevins.
I'm Katie, MrsRuvi. Let us help you decide.
Is this for kids?